I don't know if you remember, Max, episode 46.
Episode 46.
We talked about cannabis as a treatment. We had a guest on, was very helpful in that area. Definitely CEO of two companies. In Maryland, Cannabis Md and TPAD.
Yep.
Currently a student at University of Maryland Pharmacy School for a cannabis program. And we're welcoming her back to the show right now. Jacquie.
We had such a great reception, Jacquie, that we didn't get to everything that we wanted to. So welcome back. Thanks for joining us again.
Well, thank you so much for having me back. And I did really enjoy your lead-in with Age of Aquarius and absolutely acknowledging that Mercury is in retrograde as I was on to get some homework done for that grad program. It's like, I had some snafus. Also, remember, don't sign any contracts.
Yeah.
So I think it's,
we take that serious. We take that more seriously than you think, actually.
And it is honest. Last year, Max and I did not go along with our gut during the retrograde, and we ended up paying for it. So now on our business calendar, we have the 3 weeks of Mercury retrograde marked for a time of exploration and learning and making sure that we're collecting as much information as we can and being aware of everything that's around us and so forth. So we're excited to have you here this month, especially not that, for a number of reasons, but one, that it is Black History Month and social equity and the issues around the cannabis industry is something that's really near and dear to your heart. So we have a lot of questions about that because it's really something that there's just so many questions. People just don't know, and it's one of those things that we'll really love you to bring some awareness to today. How has things been going for you lately? I know the Maryland has had some legislative sessions kick back up, and there's some bills on the table. Have you had a chance to dig into any of them, and what are your thoughts?
Oh, my gosh. Yes, I actually read the 83 pages of Senate Bill 708, which essentially legalizes medical cannabis in Maryland, making it legal for adult use, recreational use. And there's some really key ingredients in that bill that I'm very excited about that absolutely address social justice, social equity, as well as criminal justice. And and this one has the head of the Senate on board. I mean, he's one of the sponsors of the bill. So it's exciting to see how serious Maryland is getting. As I say, it's the third try now to get it right on social equity.
You know, Stephen and I, Lord knows, we don't necessarily love politics, and we love lobbying even less. But, the one nice thing is that this is a totally bipartisan thing. I love that. I love that cannabis just crosses all borders,
I don't know.
No, you wouldn't say?
Honest with you on, what it does is actually if somebody has a personal experience where they've been introduced to cannabis, it actually does cross party lines. In that case, particularly of note is John Boehner. So John Boehner, who was from Ohio, who was so vocal anti-cannabis, but he is actually now part of a cannabis company, but he had a personal experience that helped shift his views.
All right, so that actually makes sense. So there are a lot of different issues. Cannabis is a big topic. So there's a lot of, there are some things that everyone can agree on, and then there's some that are still, kind of split, it sounds like.
Absolutely.
And the social equity piece is why it's split, which is probably why you're putting your energy there, because it needs it. Tell us about it. Tell our listeners about it. I mean, I know people sort of hear about the issues there with how the laws are set up for certain ethnic groups, and they're, both financially from the business side and from the criminal justice side.
Sure. So I guess let's put some perspective on
Yes.
it. So we're going to 1970 when cannabis became illegal in the United States, when it was listed as Schedule I drug, meaning there is absolutely no medical benefit to it, and there is a high incidence of addiction, negative, scary, up there with LSD, meth, all the scary bad drugs. And then at that time, Nixon was in office, so this came under his leadership. To follow was, actually every president since 1937, which was the Marijuana Tax Act that put the first regulatory measures, and again, also racially biased federal policy. But every single administration since that time has had a negative effect on cannabis moving forward, in with good elements to it, whether it be needed research, whether it be addressing social equity needs, et cetera. But it's gotten worse since 1970 with the war on drugs being declared. So just putting some historical perspective on that.
Right. So then when we come back, we got to take a short break in about a minute. But when we come back, we'll be able to talk about some of the bills that are currently. Is it one bill that's currently?
There are a few in Maryland that do address cannabis, the legalization specific to Maryland. Yeah, there are a few.
Yeah. And in a nutshell, what's your take on how far this is going to go this year? I mean, a lot of people feel like every year we get a little bit further. Is this the one that's going to get over the goal line, you think?
I don't know. I really don't know, because the majority of states that have legalized it, adult use, that's what I refer to as have done this by a ballot measure. Mm-hmm. I think it's like 14 of 16 states or 12 of 14, whatever it is. But and what that means is that the legislature puts it to the voters, which
mm-hmm.
would be next year when there's a gubernatorial election.
Gotcha.
But
all right.
And then at play you have where the legislature, both federally and the state, is paying attention to the impact on COVID. So there's, obviously, and there should be a lot of conversation about remedies for businesses and individuals related to COVID. So it's a question of, how far we can get.
Well, it's nice to see that they would see this as a remedy for COVID. How's that? What does that sound like?
Yeah, well, what people do is they look to the impact of the legalization on Colorado, mm-hmm. where the school programs, they've been significantly improved. The educational programs there, I've got a friend whose grandchildren are Colorado schools. It's also interesting to point out that when a state establishes its regulatory measures, is that actually a municipality can opt out. So they can say, hey, we don't want cannabis, we don't want a dispensary, or we don't want a cultivator, we don't want a processor within our municipality, and that would be in Maryland specifically within a county, and that goes to the history of Anne Arundel County, where I'm a resident, mm-hmm. and what former County Executive Steve Shue, how he did some serious damage, it's remedied, but yet who got licenses and who doesn't, is really interesting to see in the politics that come into play.
Yeah, we know how that stuff works.
Yeah.
What are we coming up on the break here, Steve?
Yeah, it looks like we are.
Okay, very good. All right.
Noah left the room. That's all right.
Yeah, it's no problem. We'll just keep going.
That's great. No, we have a couple things we want to definitely mention when we come back. Jackie's got a couple events coming up where you guys can get involved with what's happening here locally in Baltimore and in Maryland. So please stay with us, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Understanding CBD. I am Stephen Wallman.
I am Max Sobel.
We're with Jacquie Cohen Roth today. Jackie, you with us? Did you make it back after the break?
Jackie?
Talking to me?
Jackie?
No, this is me. This is Doc.
Oh, we lost Jackie. And we have Doc G on the line? Hey, Doc.
Hey. Hi.
Mercury retrograde.
How you guys doing?
Good, Doc G. How are you?
We'll try and get Jackie back on the line.
I'm gonna meet you in the Zoom room since...
Let's just bring everybody in and just have a whole conversation with everybody. Jackie, as soon as we get you back on, this is Doc G. Doc G, Jackie. Everybody meet everybody. I don't think she can hear us yet. We're trying to get her back on the phone.
We want to get Jackie back on the line. Noah's going to call her back because we want to button up some of the stuff that's going on in the Maryland legislature. What's happening with you, Doc G, today? What's the snow going on down there in Silver Spring?
Oh, it's sunny out and the snow is melting.
Beautiful.
Good.
Yeah, we had a beautiful morning. I was up early walking the dogs around 7, and it was big flakes, and it wasn't really too cold. So it's a beautiful time in Baltimore.
Sounds like we got Jackie back. Hi, Jackie.
Yeah.
Oh, good. You just interrupted me getting ready to tell a poop story of my dog. So thank you for coming back just in time, Jackie. But to button up the legislative activity in the Maryland session, what's our takeaway here so we can move on with you, Jackie?
Sure. Yeah. So some really great elements in there that the bills that they look at discrimination by employers of medical cannabis patients. There's the one of the bills, or the bills do include the opportunity for home grow, which I would imagine, knowing some of the growers that are licensed now, they're going to be pushing hard against that, limiting 6 plants, and that's per person. So if there's a couple that is domiciled together, they each could have 6 plants apiece. Then there is, of course, in the impact of tax and what the tax structure looks like as cannabis does become legalized, and the tax that's referred to is an excise tax, which is also known as a sin tax. And so the difference in the legalization bills have different tax structures on what that looks like.
Very good.
That's so interesting. I always find it fascinating how in one area it's medical cannabis, and then on the other area, then you have a sin tax.
Right. And so, and that does, it's a way that actually for the medical market to, stay alive, so to speak, is that, and to take advantage of what, and I say take advantage, maybe not be the best way to explain that, but what a medical program, how it differs is that you will need the recommendation of a certified provider, but at the same time, it's going to be less expensive. And then you're going to have some elements of the products that are available to you, the quantity, where there's the amount of THC. So there are some limitations in there. And both of these, it's really interesting, both the adult use and the recreational markets are set up to pay close attention to what the illicit market or the black market, keep people off the streets where they can get it cheaper. So, all these things come into play when building out a program.
Yeah, what's the current medical program in Maryland, the Maryland Cannabis Commission? What's their take on it? Are they for recreational, or are they more looking to keep it separate, or what's their take?
That I don't know what the individual, as a body, the commission, is that I don't think, as a regulatory body that they're going to come out and take a position on it, is that their job is to manage and regulate that existing program. So, there's something to refer to as a dual license, where those first licenses, they will go to some of the existing, or they have the opportunity to apply for the adult use license, the existing license holders.
Gotcha.
But there's also elements in there that for small businesses are called micro licenses. And then that also then goes to the social equity elements.
Gotcha, and we definitely want to get to that, but I want to shift gears. We have a caller here. We have Jerry on the phone, and this is going to definitely shift gears for you, Jackie. This is more of a classroom question. Jerry from Mount Washington, are you on the phone?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Wonderful. Yes, we can, Jerry. How are you today?
Hi, Dr. Roth. It's a pleasure to speak to you. Listen,
no, doctor. I just pretend to be one on podcasts.
Okay, well, as a medical expert, can you shed some light on CBD and drug interactions? Like what we need to know. Can CBD change the way your body metabolizes other medications? I actually have seen, the only warning I've seen is to avoid CBD if your medications have a grapefruit warning on the label. Apparently,
so that's
metabolism.
An excellent.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Jerry, great. Thank you for that question. That is always one of the first things that comes out of my mouth is that all healthcare providers need to be aware of the possibility of a drug-drug interaction. And what that means is that, as Jerry's question is, that if you are using, whether it be CBD or THC, how it is metabolized in your body, and then essentially the competition that metabolism has for a prescribed medication. And so where that's going to play in to most, well, first to answer your question is CBD is not going to change the physiology of your body, of how it actually metabolizes drugs. So that's just not going to happen. Very succinctly to answer that. But where you will have that competition for drugs is particularly with edibles. So wherein the THC or CBD is being metabolized in your liver, and more so with the THC, is something to be aware of. And actually, just a side note that the THC actually is metabolized into a secondary cannabinoid, it's called, where those chemical compounds, CBD, THC, are chemical compounds, and it becomes even stronger. So that's where you have to be careful with edibles.
Hey, Jerry, did that answer your question?
It does. Great. Thank you so much.
Hey, we appreciate you calling in today. Thank you so much.
Thanks for the call, Jerry.
Yeah, good job, Jackie. Thanks for answering that.
Yeah, appreciate it.
And I wanted to, want to remind everyone we're with Jacquie Cohen Roth, CEO of two companies, founder and CEO of Cannabis Md and TPAD, and we want to talk about some events you have scheduled for both of those. So,
Sure. Okay, thank you. The first one, so my first company is Cannabis Md, which is a platform. Everything in our world now is virtual. So the focus of Cannabis MD is on cannabis science, helping to fill the void of cannabis science education, whether it's for industry professionals and the healthcare providers themselves. And so we have an event coming up March 18th that I think is getting lots and lots of attention about. It is sexual health, women's sexual health and medical cannabis. So what that means is not necessarily what's going on in the bedroom with a woman in cannabis, but it's that during pregnancy, during nursing, during premenopause, during menopause, postmenopause, women's mental health, physical health, all these things.
Well, thank you for putting that out there, Jackie, because that's one of the most difficult questions that we can't really even direct
Relate
anyone to, because no one really has much guidance on pregnancy, nursing, and that whole process. So that's great.
So that's March 18th.
And it's a virtual event, right?
Correct.
So what's the way that people can sign up? Because you can be anywhere in the world and join.
Right, exactly. And I have 3 cannabis clinicians. These are physicians, 2 of whom are board-certified OBGYNs. Women's health is their specialty. And then the third physician, actually, her special area of expertise is neurobiology and particularly mental health and cannabis. So if you go to cannabismd.com and right across the top, you're going to see a leaderboard ad for the event, and you're going to see an area to click on for details. And that'll take you to actually the Eventbrite page. You can also search for Cannabis MD on Eventbrite, and that'll take you to the event as well.
Thank you. That's good.
That's great. And then that's that event. Now, tell us about TPAD.
TPAD.
We didn't really get a chance to dig in too much about what's happening at TPAD, and it's exciting. I like the concept, too, but tell everyone about it.
Why don't you remind the audience what TPAD is about and then the event you have coming up, please?
Yes. Okay, thank you. So TPAD, the event right off the bat, that is March 25th, and actually hosting that another virtual, it's going to be on a different platform, Hop-In. But in any event, what TPAD's about is breaking down barriers to entry into the cannabis industry and ensuring access, no matter gender or race, via education. TPAD is focused on ensuring social justice as well as inclusion in the industry, whether it's inclusion of recognizing minorities, women, LGBTQ+, and people with physical disabilities. So all of these people have faced challenges in breaking into the cannabis industry, as well as once they're in, opportunities for advancement. So what TPAD does through our events, we have traditionally we've had a keynote speaker, and that kicks off a really provocative conversation on, as what I say, the injustice currently looks like in the cannabis industry, and how do we actually get to a point where there is social justice and there is inclusion and there all of these critical elements.
Who typically attends the event?
So we have had a range of folks, mostly industry professionals, those folks also that are interested in becoming professionals in the cannabis industry, whether that they are in the college students all the way up to, again, we've actually had the legislators themselves come and attend TPAD events.
And how does one attend one of these events? Virtual as well, I'm sure, right?
Right. So this is virtual, but so going back to the history, a bit about TPAD, and more of it's on tpad.co. That's TEAPAD.co. TPADs, borrowing the history of these were speakeasies in the 20s and 30s where American jazz was born. And these were spots that started off in Harlem with the migration of cannabis as people built communities coming out of, unfortunately, out of the slave trade, and that stain on American history. But these were spots where folks could use the cannabis without fear of prejudice or harm. And Cab Calloway, of course, our famous Baltimore jazz musician, Duke Ellington, Billie Holiday, Ella Fitzgerald. So I borrowed that history from the name of this organization. And so we have live jazz. We're going to accomplish that via actually getting a recording. Don't quite have the logistics on how this is going to work out, but live jazz is an integral part of every TPAD event. And then for this TPAD, I'm very excited that we're going to have a roundtable of folks that are representatives who have had their own challenges in the cannabis industry.
Very good and exciting. And I think a lot of people would want to join and sort of, get some insight on. I also wanted to give you a chance to talk about some of your schooling, right? So,
Oh, yeah.
So here's something interesting. What have you learned this year, right, related to cannabis that you didn't know before in weed school?
Well, I would say, so the program I started August 28th, 20, and this is where COVID, and time moves so quickly now. 2019, and who's counting? But I think I might be like 89 days away from finishing up my program. It ends on May 7th. But it's phenomenal, the amount of information and what we've studied. Certainly going back to where I left my pre-med program was because of organic chemistry, but I revisited it. And had to get through, and I did it with flying colors through cannabis chemistry, anatomy, biology, pharmacology, big science words like pharmacokinetics, how drugs work in your body, how your body works on drugs. We've learned how actually the ways that cannabis medicines are processed and made. And now I am in one of the courses that it's one of the reasons I enrolled in the program for my undergrad is policy and economics. So for policy and economics geeks, I'm really excited to be studying state and federal cannabis policy or laws and policy. So, for example, I had to write a paper the other night on recommendations on how Nebraska should build its medical cannabis program.
Interesting.
Well, we appreciate it because even though it's a battle that's been going on for a while, it's still pioneer time here. It's still just so early, and the decisions that are made now will really form the future. That's why this age of Aquarius is relevant. Another thing that motivates us as well as you is something that we can talk about here before we let you go is Tikkun Olam and how that plays into all of this.
That's it. Yes, thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, Tikkun Olam is a Hebrew phrase, Tikkun as in Nancy, and then second word Olam, and it literally means repair of the world. And so this guides my business principles and my personal principles is, what can I do to repair the world? And particularly in the cannabis industry is to acknowledge and repair and do work towards righting the wrongs of the war on drugs. Not only has it decimated communities and individual lives, but also science. Is because it is a Schedule I drug, physicians are so reticent to recognize the clinical efficacy of cannabis because 97% of them have not been educated on cannabis in their clinical training.
Yeah, we appreciate that, Jacquie. We have to take a break, so really quick, how can people get in touch with you real quick?
Sure, JACQUIE at cannabismd.com.
Thank you, Jacquie. Be well. Have a great weekend.